brightest moments, wasn't quite the brightest star amongst the bunch.
I will say, moving into this map, the third map in the series, the 9th or 10th place finish, I think a lot of onus has to come onto Kenny. He has been, you say, kind of a non-factor on Nuke. In the series as a whole, he hasn't been the biggest contributor. That could be the missing piece that G2 are looking for an edge. And Overpass, a good way to do it. CT start for G2 and a fast play for Faze onto the B site, but no casualties just yet. A lot of damage being felt, but the first frag found onto G2 instead.
Kenny's now starts to come in from B short, got himself 2 great kills, and he's coming into play nicely. Next as well to get another. The bomb plant is even denied, so G2 Esports start off as well as you possibly can. Now, they will have to face their eternal nemesis, but before that, look at this replay. Kenny S, beautiful few headshots coming into play, and that's what you want to see.
And that was always the theory behind pistol players. Quite often, AWPers were really dominant pistol performers. And what better way to get the ball rolling? Of course, all the flick aim certainly plays a large factor in those duels. Ooh. Dicey fight to be taking if you're Hunter. The spam from the D can be dangerous. In fact, 20 damage onto him. None in response. Faze take connector. They start making their way up through middle as well. And, oh, the jump spot. Kenny's been dinked down to 2 HP. That's a dink with a dig.
Like, man, that's 1 more HP than he needs, okay? I believe in Kenny, but I believe in Almanac's UMP even more so. We'll have to wait to see whether or not my belief is unfounded, though. Almanac, wait for them to start pushing upwards. There's plenty of time for G2 to start rotating over, should they desire to do so, with Almanac's incredibly forward-facing position. So the longer that Faze actually take, the better it would be for G2 over here. Almanac will see the shadow coming in, is only good for 1, and now rotations will start coming through. Cold with a great headshot down from long. Brings it to a 3v3, and with Kenny being this low, it's a big disadvantage. Kenny inside the smoke, barely dodges the bullets, and he's managed to come out, but Cold has now been the one left on 4 HP. Kenny will not be the one to die, instead it's Jax to go down. Cole's been ripping them apart long range, and Nexa will follow. Kenny left alone with only 2 HP, and the madness from Nuke has come to play, and it's here to stay.
And Kenny gets nothing. He got dinked down at the start. He gets a second headshot just to finish him off. Anywhere would have done, but dig headshots. We've come to know, love, hate them, depending on which side of the coin you're on, but the reaction shot there from Cold, that has to be the one that sealed the deal. I have to say, not a huge fan of the MP5. That was what Kenny had to work with. That's how he did so much damage, but didn't finish off the kill on Cold. Not exactly the strongest SMG.
Oh, I agree with you entirely. Put a UMP in his hands, and that man is dead to rights.
Or just an MP9. That thing is so cost-effective.
I mean, at long range, I think I prefer a UMP. But yeah, you're right. I'm personally a big fan of the MP9 as well. So, Faze Clan, they will be able to pull out lots of rifles to try and work around. Now, what's interesting is that they go for this many rifles. They've got to respect the G2 horse by after what it was done to them earlier. So many rounds where we saw G2 being able to sneak away around they should never have gotten. Almanac with the 5-7 comes to mind, playing from on top of red container. Next, though, this time will be leading the charge and leading the board. Finds the initial kill, Kirby to fall, and next up, who's flashed up, has to back off for cover. But Jax around the corner, still good for 1, and Cold Zera has to save the day, preventing Almanac and company from getting more as he keeps swinging through. Hunter left alone, and alone he will die. With that, Faze will get themselves a second round and somehow beat a force buy.
So the craziness doesn't continue. I thought for sure there was that chance, that doubt in my heart, that Faze were going to concede this round. They were moving into the stack. The pistols were there for G2. They just couldn't get those crisp digs. That Faze had to topple them down after the pistol round loss.
Oh.
All the balloons gone.
No, there's 2 left.
Actually, I think there's 3, but
okay. Enough.
Just saying that for dramatic effect.
Well, listen, balloons aren't the only things that'll be popped when you've got player armor. No deagles, but more importantly, I think most importantly, no Glocks. So Faze Clan, seems like it's going to be a hard round for them to lose, but I'm sure that G2 will at least try to give them a run for their money. And Coldzera, well, he is running off for his money, and his money is moving around. It's blue in color, and it is dead in nature. Got themselves a couple of quick kills, and Cole's had a very good performance so far today across pretty much the entire series. Right now, he continues that, and yes, there's some anti-ecos and anti-force buys, but after map number 2, are you really going to tell me that those don't have impact?
Oh, they most certainly do. I'm having my entire scripture of CS rewritten on the fly. Of course, he was a big contributing factor as to why they stole that second round away from G2. So,
oh yeah,
can't take anything away from him. I think he sits on 194 ADR in these first 4 rounds. But now rifles come out. Kenny, AWP in his hands, nice and early on this CT start. But he doesn't have armor, so that may play a role in the types of fights he goes to face. But based on the direction he's turned, we'll be committed over towards B. And I want to know whether he goes for the monster peak. It would be a tough sell. Can frequently get pre-naded, can get pre-flashed. They're not going to go for anything too crazy. Instead, just sitting on that B site. Meanwhile, Hunter investigates middle. There are players for Faze nearby, but they have bypassed him so far. Around the other corner, Brokey leaves the situation in Coldzera's hands.
They're not checking the angle. Hunter's found the first kill. This is ridiculous. You have to know that you've given up complete fountain control, but Coldzera, as good as he's been, has one small little piece of negligence that ends up costing them dearly. And with this, rotations have all come over as well. G2 are ready for a little hit on the B bomb site. Kirby smokes off the side itself, and they'll start to move in with flashes raining through. 55 seconds, they're clearing all the angles, but they're not finding anything. It's the CTs to come in and strike, but they can't get the kills. They're also low on the Faze side, but they're fighting back. Armanek finally finds one single kill, but it's still a 3 versus 3. Can they get it done? Kirby playing from water, has to be careful of Armanek coming around the corner. Kenny S is the one who's got himself the AWP, and himself and Hunter will be peeking in. Beautiful. Kill. Brokey wasn't even flashed, and he still goes down. Hunter out in the open, so careful, but Kirby around the corner will be his target, and he will find it. Picks up the AK as well, leaving Nico alone. 1v3 and can't get it done. Kenny to take the round away, and does he have time? It looks like he does. Oh no,
yeah, it'll be really close. Oh yeah. Dear.
Whoa.
He even dropped his AWP on the floor so that Armanek could run just in case he didn't have the time. But yeah, an uncleared angle to start. Really surprised that goes unchecked. That may have been Brokey's role. He was called over a little bit early, didn't have the chance to peek it. That's a fight that Cold is never going to win unless Hunter came up with a phenomenal whiff, which he is not used to having. Good round for G2.
No one on long for Faze Clan. Sorry, not for Faze Clan, for G2. And they will be clearing out toilets in the meanwhile. Now, G2 is going for an interesting bit of a setup where if they ever actually go for aggression in mid, it seems like it's not actually assisted aggression. And admittedly, it's only been one round that we've seen that so far, but solitary aggression is always interesting to see, especially with a team like G2, who on maps like Train will actually never do that. They'll always have Armanek setting up for a flashbang, setting for a nade, setting up to allow a slightly easier pathway forward. Kenny's been forced off the angle in the meanwhile, and as he mollies and smokes to make sure that there's no significant ground game, they realize that Faze Clan is actually turning around and running towards the B-bomb site.
And it has been weakened by that rotation. Jackson next up. We'll try and lock this one down as Faze posture up for the hit. Rain, the first to lead the way. Has the bomb on his back as well, so hopes this doesn't fall out of his hands too quickly. They get themselves onto the site, and Hunter, patient play, backstabbing Nico. Amanek still goes uncleared and unchecked. There's a secondary player in water as well, and the flank from Hunter is well-timed and well-executed. Brokey, just the AWP, but nothing else. The one frag, and it's traded by Kenny. A third round for G2. Now that they've gotten their hands on the AWP and these rifles, they have fought back to equalize.
All around beautiful stuff coming out from Hunter, though. Finds himself the first, and he's got the presence of mind to realize that there are two players inside water who would heavily benefit from him pushing out towards short. So regardless of whether he gets any kills or whether his life is at risk, he wants to push out and isolate the player who isn't planting the bomb. That allows the players at water to peek out, find more ground towards Monster Tunnel if they need to, and really use Hunter's death to their advantage. Now, he gets 2 kills, which is obviously even nicer, but it is something to keep in mind as Amanek also will be peeking in. Colzera has been tagged up through a wall, yes, but tagged nonetheless.
And it's a double up setup, something that G2 love to go back to across maps, but I mean, we've seen the first 2. They never got their economy in a place to do so. They bring it out nice and early. Practice a double up at A setup that they're hoping to work around. Rain, fancying a peek in towards short, dinked down for his trouble. So 51, 49 HP. Faze are low on a couple of players.
Amanek, in the meanwhile, will see the smoke coming out his way. With this, let's not forget, Faze don't have the bomb, so commitment is something they are not willing to go for. Unless it is the A bomb site where they will start to rotate Kirby over late. Brokey's found the kill as well. Kenny tried to creep through for information without the help of a flashbang or anything, but he is punished for it. Amanek now with the secondary AWP on the A bomb site is about to find out that the bomb is headed back to B, where Nexa lies in wait. Jax playing from heaven, has got the AK-47, but the flashbang is very well timed to keep Nico at bay. Brokey's been forced to start leading forward. Another flashbang's there. Nexus found the first, and although Jax has been traded on some damage, it's not enough to get the kill. Jax is still fighting away. He wants to take the peek with the AK-47. Gets the flick as well. Kirby to fall with the bomb on top of it. Amanek comes in from behind, and he might have just saved the day. 1 versus 1. Colzera alone has to wait, and he can't make the peek out. He'll instead start to back off and wait for it. Colzera again bailing them out of a tricky situation against an AWP that is trained onto his angle. What a round from him.
That fight on Nexa was so crucial. The time was ticking low. He knew he had to get that bomb planted, and Amanek missed a crucial shot as he transitioned to the site. Coldzera punishes. And you can see the timeout being called here for G2 to discuss their monetary situation. Amanek, sure, he can buy, but everybody else, they're in a trickier spot. But no, they go for it. Amanek buying into the AWP and swapping it into Kenny's hands. Does everybody else commit around it? That's the real question. We see Jax, the XM out, the pistol. Yeah, they're going to go for it. They're going to see if they can topple it right back for Faze because their funds never got established. It comes down to that 1v1. Another moment where it could be a swing for 2 rounds, given the victor of this one.
It's not even entirely a 1v1. I think it might have actually been a 1v3 towards the very end of it. But it is what it is, and now Jax, he's waiting with the XM. Great angle to be holding. Will find the initial kill. Molotov will force him back, so at least he can't really find himself anything more than just the kill. The AK-47 cannot be recovered. Kenny, yes, however, also with an aggressive angle, finds Kirby, and suddenly the CT aggression has been rewarded. Colzera is looking to catch off Jax if he wanted to retreat back, but Cole's also been forced backwards. Jax will maybe even live to tell the tale. As he darts around Divider, Cole will have a much harder deal because of it. Jax waiting around the corner has got the shadow advantage. And with that, the second kill goes to the XM as well. G2 Esports will lose Jax, but the information he gains is crucial.
And look at where the bomb is for Faze. They're still taking fights towards A. It's drop T steps.
Nexa could catch them off. If Nexa hears this, this is going to be massive. He's still waiting outside the connector, so he can at least guarantee it won't be a B-bomb side hit. But Faze down at this point, if Brokey gets a kill over here, they can just run back towards the B-bomb side as well. Brokey will be spotted as he jumps across towards the side itself, but Kenny, yes, he's rotated back. He's playing from near the garbage bin where he's got a faster rotation. Brokey has given Nico the time, but Kenny gets the kill. Nico will be able to get a bomb plant in. It's a 1v2 for him. Flashbang at the ready as well. Will start to move back, peek out as to AWP misses shots, but he's been scouted out as he moves back. Will have to take the duel. One tap straight to the face of Nexa as well. Nico against Kenny, yes. A 1 versus 1. Kenny without the kit, so he needs to get this done and quick. Nico is coming in from behind. Kenny fakes out the defuse. Nico is just using Kenny's nerves against him. G2 trying to pretend like they're sticking it, but Nico with 2 taps. 2 taps. That's all he needs. Go back to battle and scream. We don't need your hair when we've got Nico.
Oh my goodness. And Jax does so well. Jax does so well. But Nico, what confidence. Coming into each of those duels. Knew he had isolated fights. And he took them in spades. He took them in stride. Jeez. G2 didn't even feel like they had a chance when he's hitting shots like that. That's the Nico we come here to see. G2 pistols, but the USP headshot, Rain's gone in an instant.
Well, with this, at this point, the problem is, look at Kirby. Kirby's gone down, and the AK has been picked up by Kenny, so he pulls out the nade, and that's the issue. Otherwise, it could have been a very big position to hold. If he just found the kill, brought Nico down, maybe there was something to be done. Cold, however, like you said, has found all the space in the world to come in from behind, takes Nexa down, goes for more, but he's bitten off more than he could chew. And with Jax having the AK-47, it's a viable chance for the side of G2 to try and squeak this out. But he's peeked out again, caught off in an awkward angle, in an awkward position, can't get it done.
Yeah, and Hunter's rotation snuffed out by Nico. A 6th for Faze. They dodge out what could have been a... dire set of circumstances given that Rain died so early. They get their hands onto a rifle as well into the late round. I'll see G2 reinvest again, a position where Kenny has to buy the AWP with nothing else around it. No armor, no utility. Just to get that AWP into his hands. So with a nice aggressive face towards Monster earlier on. Now instead he moves towards A, the more traditional of the sides. And this is the map where, talk about the previous match against NIP, this is the map where Rain really stepped up to the plate, but he's not having to as much. Nico and Cold have been in really good form, and Kenny still fancying this peek, trying to go for the jump peek as he pre-aims the angle, but the timing's going to work against them. That connector presence, the utility sailing through from Faze will deter him.
I mean, it does help when 2 of the best players to have ever touched any version of Counter-Strike are coming alive for you. Kenny S, of course, another one of those legendary names on the server right now. He is going to back off as he is forced to play a little bit more conservatively. The lack of body armor will do that. But Faze, again, they're defaulting and they're letting G2 fall back on their own. G2 then re-aggresses later on in the round, and then they're cut off. Kenny might be falling victim to that soon enough as he's pulled out his knife, and Kirby and Rain will both find a kill apiece. Rain, of course, to escort Kenny into the grave before being traded. Kirby keeps it going, but Hunter's been able to catch him off. The flick not there in time.
20 seconds.
It back to 3v3 in 20 seconds. Jax will fall, though. And with that, Almanac's position is everything. If he can find this kill onto the AWP, if it swings out, that would be massive, but the bomb's already been planted. Almanac can't get this done, and they will have to save unless Almanac finds a kill. Colzera caught off and brought down. The M4A1 of Hunter needs to start pushing forward now as it creeps through. It's got a corner to go around, and Nico's got the kill. Takes away Hunter's life, leaving just Almanac in a 1 versus 2. No kit to pick up either. It's a bit too far away. If he goes for it, that's basically wasting all the time that he saves by the kit as well. Almanac creeps in. Nico is on fire. He's the perfect player right now. That's what Nico is.
Yeah, he's reached a point in this game now, you know, off to a bit of a slow start, but now he's reached a point where everybody who duels him, I just have it in my mind that he's gonna win it.
Yep.
Whether that's backed by evidence or just pure biological instinct, he is in a zone to take heads and take rounds for Faze.
I mean, Nico's basically an animal right now. You can't go up against him. You just can't. He's too wild. He's too good. His claws are too sharp. His bite is too vicious. He's too fast. There's nothing you can do. You've got to hope to overpower him down by numbers, and that's something that G2 Esports don't have too many of when they only have pistols across the board. Faze Clan, on the terrorist side of Overpass, are creeping in on an 8th round should they capitalize on this anti-force buy, or at least anti-half buy. Meanwhile, I'm just keeping an eye out for Nico the Animal to come in again. He's letting Colzera take the charge over towards long. I don't mind that at all, but you've got to see when G2 starts to rotate. They've been a bit slow about that, and a lot of it comes down to not having information early on. Almanac with the smoke that goes out initially, but the flashes come through. Now, they're trying to use the one way to their advantage. Kirby peeks in, knowing he's already taken down Kenny. Nico from the side makes that one way useless and takes Jax's with him. 2 versus 5, and little to no chance of them getting anything.
A team ace is a very real possibility. Just against the pistols. So that's what I'll highlight. Rain. Go on, hunt for the frag. Hunter. Making sure he's not the hunted. Moving instead away. You will deny them that privilege. And it just rounds the corner in time. I don't know if they may have spotted him.
I mean,
they are approaching in swarms. Yeah, I think they definitely spotted him. Berkey trying to find the kill with the AWP, does track down Hunter in the end. Followed his scent, followed his trail. G2 still in that position, still trailing heavily on the CT side. 3 rounds is all they have acquired. And I'm getting a little bit of flashbacks to Dust 2. It feels like an eon ago. The Faze just running around, shooting heads. And finding some really solid timings that G2 aren't able to exploit or capitalize on in response. It has come down to some closer rounds for G2 to get these rounds on field.
I'm just starting to wonder, how are we going to see G2 really bring this back if they are? Because one thing that's been one little piece of criticism that has been levied against G2 recently more and more is that this is a team that lets it get to close games and then they lose them. When you're not even close, when Faze is just trailing ahead of you, if you're a team that's rumored to have a mental block, this is the worst possible time to have one. So we'll have to wait to see whether or not they can get out of their own heads, but so far it seems like the only person in their heads is, well, it's Nico. because he just keeps getting in there again and again and again. It seems like now will be no different. Rain creeping in. He's not brought down even if he is dinked up. Next time the kills will finally find him, and a second. Great flashes from Brokey, or at least in Nex's favor. But Kenny S will now assist Nico to take down Hunter. Seems like flashes are meant to be for the enemy team, as Nico will now look for more. 3 versus 4 still very doable, but the bomb is down, and that's the problem. So reinforcements will come through from all sides. Flashbang prime for Kenny S should they want to peek out. Jax can actually take use of that, and here the flashbang will be coming. Kirby gets the first kill, flashed up immediately, but Jax is being tagged up initially. Nico to fall as Kenny S will find him on short. Kirby and Brokey will be creeping through.
Fighting.
Do they realize this though? Glock is there, but Brokey is now left alone in a 1-on-2. Switches out for the AK-47, looking to peek out, almost gets the headshot as well, but that will be all she wrote. G2 Esports find themselves a 4th round.
Yeah, Kenny with 3 kills on the AWP. He really needs to step up to the plate now. If there's ever a time to awaken, it's in crucial moments like this for G2, especially with FaZe making such a wild call in this round. Jumping through not 1, but 2 smokes over at Monster to try and find an advantage. They didn't even have a clue as to where G2 were positioned in that instance. So having to fight back from a significant man at disadvantage. Not something that FaZe will hope to replicate in further rounds. G2, their money's still not quite established. Rain looking for duels initially. They're still facing. They're still looking for peeks out from Monster. And Jax is fully blinded up. Rain and Nico find the opening, and there's Cold off that initial space created. Now Kenny and Almanac on these rotations to try and hold on, and so far successful. Now Kenny, 1 versus 3. The Molotov just now disperses.
Kenny's got to back off. There's no way he gets this. He knows it.
Yeah.
FaZe just perfect scaling coming into play. Last round they lost was a little bit more iffy as far as, scaling goes. Nexus was able to use a lot of the enemy flashes to his advantage. Brokey ended up flashing 2 of his teammates completely white. So just some miscommunication coming up. This time they show you how a B-Take's really done. Beautiful stuff all around. Every single play coming alive except for Brokey, who's again the only one missing from a teammate this time. So it is what it is in G2 Esports. Although they find themselves 4 rounds, FaZe are quick to come back and make it 9. And with this, G2 also will not really have much money going into their penultimate round of this half. So you're again in an awkward position where you have to decide, do we buy around this AWP or not?
And here's the thing for G2. You expect FaZe to be very default oriented. It's not a map they play too often. That's the style that most teams will revert to when they don't have some crazy strategies, double nades, hell, quadruple boosts, things like that in their arsenal. So capitalizing on spacing and capitalizing on open chances to get aggressive on the CT side is really where Overpass thrives. And Kirby, just a wonderful shot to start off the 14th round, but Hunter's there to trade things out. Almanac 1 for 1 as well. All things considered, given that it's a limited investment here from G2, not a poor start. Now it's about how FaZe respond.
Brokey may have had more team flashes than enemy flashes this game, actually. He unfortunately ended up accidentally flashing out the initial player who was peeking into toilet. Nico in the meanwhile will at least take down Jax. Opens up the B-bomb side significantly more, and with them having knowledge of how Jax likes to play, G2 will know that they can't really rotate Kenny back to focus purely on A. So a lot of this round will be hinged around Hunter and how he can actually make this work. Hunter, not sure if he actually hears those players over on long, but he is going to start to rotate back soon once he hears some Molotovs at the very least. And as he trails backwards, Nico's still in the back lines. The Kenny S you want to come through connector, there's no real chance of that happening. However, Nico now turns around. He's looking to find Hunter. The flashbang is there, but 20 seconds on the clock. Hunter could be a real problem for them. A thorn in their sides, and Nico has fallen. Hunter will be peeking out. The bomb hasn't crossed yet, but Brokey with a brilliant shot will be able to get the plant. Even smokes of garbage just in case Kenny wants to peek, but Kenny's been caught. Cole's error. Peeks out, and that'll be all she wrote. 10-4. And yes, you have money to buy on G2 Esports. Don't get me wrong, but you've already lost way too much on the CT side.
And that 2v1, Cold Zero getting aggressive in that manner, I think comes down to Brokey just throwing that smoke a little too deep. So they have to clear it instead of playing the 2v1 a bit more traditionally, setting up in post plants. And Kenny just was none the wiser. Armanek starts the round out well. The double AWP peek through middle. Battling for the spot of the primary op perhaps, but still a net positive. Armanek will get forced back by the Flames. No consolation frags, no trades available for Faze to work with. So they'll have to be very meticulous, very careful about how they approach that A site, because it's once again a double ult setup at that site.
Well, interesting set of utility actually going out as well. That'll be making it much more difficult for Kenny to play around with anything. Now, that secondary op could be doing a lot, but Kirby is doing the same. Only good for one, though, as his aim is a bit too shaky to get the second. 3v4, Faze Clan. Plenty of clutches won so far, and this one might be a little bit harder to get across because Kenny's on the other side of a scoped-in rifle. And Kenny, well, he's still going. Catches off Rain as well through the wall. Tags him up heavily. Rain will go down to the Flames. Kenny to get the kill, even if he's not even looking at him. Brokey left in the 1 versus 3. He's good at clutches, but not that good. G2 take the 5th, and we'll take a break before we're back with the second half. A disastrous CT side from G2 has materialized into 5 rounds, and FaZe Clan are looking to close things out on their own blues clues. The question is, will they be able to solve the mystery of G2 and come through victorious? We'll have to wait to see. Michael, Yumi, Cassidy on the mic with me as always, but Nico's found himself a kill, and Michael's not caught the mic because of it.
Well, it's a double push long to start for FaZe, and so G2 will have to be fast about how they approach B. The utility sailing out Kirby. First opportunities there. Brokey does get cleared out, but they line up for Kirby and Brokey, dismantling the B aggression there from G2. FaZe, a clean pistol round.
Absolutely perfect from them as well, and I love to see it. Brokey, Nico are on identical score lines right now. They're both 16-8. Cold Zeros and 17-9. This is the FaZe Clan that's supposed to be This is the FaZe Clan that's supposed to be the team. Like, you want to see the FaZe Clan with every single one of their major star players having a chance to shine and frag. And if you got 3 out of 5 showing up, hell yeah, sign me up anytime of the week. Now, Brokey is getting very confident, very aggressive, and I like to see that, but you also have to be careful. There's blocks on the other side, and we know how deadly they can be. Nico and Brokey, though, will make sure that they are down for the count. Neck will fall as well. 12-5, G2 Esports will not be able to pull off the Nico Glock miracle.
This is best case scenario for FaZe. Clean pistol, second round, no casualties. Got a buffer already established. So early into the second half. It's a welcome surprise at that. Now we'll see if G2 can recover. Can they recoil? Because this T side has to be something pretty brilliant to take down FaZe. A 7-round lead moving into this first gun round of the second half.
And I mean, Rob, while we were on break, I was just talking to you about this as well. I was very worried that maybe FaZe Clan on the CT side might have some harder times because, you know, Overpass, it's a map which is very CT-sided, but it's also very communication-heavy. It's very protocol-heavy on the CT side. You've got to know how to take control. But so far, I've really liked what I've seen from FaZe Clan in the past 2 rounds. And look, if you're up 12-5, obviously there's a lot more breathing room, even if you are going to be potentially making some mistakes. So G2 Esports, can't say the same about them. T side of Overpass has always been tricky, though I will give them one small leeway that Kenny S was one of the best, if not the best, T side Overpass operator at one point in the game. So we'll have to wait to see whether that comes into play or not. Brokey, though, Farmers at the ready, waiting for them to peek out. Drax will be leading the charge. He's been spotted. Nate goes out. Rain will now come through with a beautiful kill. Tries to switch for the AK, but it's him and Brokey to fall because of it.
Ooh, nice set of kills there for G2 to get. That's the A bomb site now fully compromised. Nico gonna try and get there in time, and the wall of smokes actually secures him an exit. Flash lined up. He's gonna try for this, attempting the spam. Cold alongside him, and they find one through the smoke. An equalizing frag at that for FaZe.
Kenny, around Optimus, wants to peek out. He knows he's in a very awkward position in a 3v3. And when Kirby comes in from behind, Nexa has fallen. Kenny's forced out. Unfortunately, though, Nico's found a gap in the smoke, and that leaves just Hunter. 1 versus 2. He's got to do the dirty work, and he's never really had work this dirty. Nico turns around, going backwards, trying to get the defuse. He's count out Hunter, and that'll be it. 13th round on the board for FaZe Clan as they bring together a 3 versus 3. Great stuff all in all, though. What a round from Nico.
Nothing really working in the clutch there for Hunter. You could see Nico was so hesitant to stick the defuse. They clear out the common positions. They realize that there's nobody there, so you eliminate all your most likely solutions. The less favored, the less probable has to be the solution. 3 straight for FaZe. G2, half by in the round. Following up, okay. The kill from Jax, the nade does find one right back, but this B bomb site has found a bit of vulnerability. Into a 3-on-3, the rifle's not quite made its way into G2 hands. And sharp reaction there from Kenny. Nico taken out.
Great flick from him, and it's back down to a 2v3. Now, G2, they are very weak. Every one of these players has a foot in the grave, and we'll have to see what the FaZe can make sure that they've got both feet in the grave, and maybe the rest of the body too. However, Hunter He's creeping in with the Tech 9. Has found himself the opening kill as well initially. And as he peeks forward, he'll take down Brokey. Picks up the AWP while he's at it, leaving Rain in a 1 versus 3. Almost impossible situation for the man himself. But Rain, it might still be up for the task. If he can find the first kill, then everything else is peachy. They're very low HP. And he's maybe just found the angle. Peeks out, but Hunter gets it nonetheless. Beautifully done from the man himself as G2 find their 6th.
First round on this T side on the board, and it comes off of pistols. The Tech 9s. They close that gap initially. The swift headshots as well secure them the round. They get themselves into an AWP, some rifles alongside it, recovered off of the corpses of Faze. Their money is in the bin. Half buy, some armor around it. Actually, a pretty deep commitment here from Faze altogether. One that they're still going to gamble on. They've got a bit of a round buffer that they can play off of.
You've still got to be so scared about the Eagles, though. Especially when Kirby's going to be peeking out with one of them to lead shot. Kirby's only good for one as he backs off. Jackson, in the meanwhile, has found Nico, who's going for a bit of a jump spot or a boost. Either way, will end up falling. And G2 Esports, their very slow, methodical style of play is paying dividends. Now, do they realize that Baseline is sticking to their guns and is sticking to their B bomb site? Because so far, no rotations coming up from Baseline back to A. And as I say, that Brokey will start to cheat over. But G2 Esports is still looking to commit over here. And it seems like the incorrect read might maybe be there from Kirby as he picks up the Deagle and it will be moving back.
Going for the gamble stack. They'll realize once that utility sails over that they have made the wrong read. The Molotov doesn't land, though. There's still an angle that has to be cleared out from G2. And do they call to save? Kirby is already running away. Rain and Brokey will try and set up for some kills of their own if possible. They know that there was one frag found towards short. There's a rifle along that route, but so is Hunter. He is guarding that like a hawk, making sure that doesn't find its way into CT hands. A solid round from G2. They play the patient game once again. They get those initial kills, and they let FaZe read a little bit too much into it.
FaZe will be able to save their M4A1, though, which is actually a pretty big deal. Going into the next round, Colzera doesn't have money to buy. I mean, if you want to force around these players, it's doable. Brokey will maybe be able to pick up the AWP as well. You've got armor on 2 of them. I don't hate this. I don't hate the idea of forcing, but as Rain goes down, maybe a little bit less so. Now you do need the 3 Cavalars, in my opinion, to go for it. So they will not be doing so, more likely than not, and Faceland will just have to suffer another loss. Now, let's not forget, the CT side of Overpass, like I said before, could be where we see FaZe capitulate. The one major advantage I would give them, though, is that Nico still seems to be on point.
No, they only have the one M4, that one smoke as well. Fast play in from Jax. They're expecting unarmored opponents, and Jax is clearing the site. Fast and, as you like, closing that gap. The boost from Kirby, though, not going to get spotted, so Armanek hits the deck. Rain attempting the rotation, and they don't clear out Brokey. Hunter down. It's being watched by Kenny. He's not going to find him on the cross. Brokey attempting the flank, and Nexa finding a kill alongside him.
Kirby's still boosted, though. Kirby's got to back off. Kirby brought down and cold will just be gifted the M4A1 so he can back off and save that for a rainy day. And, well, the Molotov may be burning, but it is definitely raining down as Colzera has had his side nicked. Down to just 40 HP. Nice kill to find, though, and he's making it expensive at G2 Esports. Let's not make any mistakes about it. If G2 lose 2 rounds in a row, well, that is Faceland on 15 and a match point that they could comfortably tuck away with G2 not having any money to spare.
I'd say they're still pretty comfortable economically.
I mean, if they lose 2 rounds in a row, are they? I mean, if they lose all their players.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Really? Okay, I believe
I don't think
you're better
I don't think it's quite so bad.
Like, your maths is better than mine, I'll give you that.
Either way, it will need to be consecutive rounds for FaZe before they break the bank of G2. Responding now, since they've gotten proper rifles in their hands. 3 rounds registered to their name on this T side. Get the AWP out for Brokey. See where he positions. Looking at the minimap, over towards B. Kenny not going to be given a straight off duel. Nades and utility sail over instead through middle. And Jack's actually taking a lot of damage to start off this round, down to 28.
Brokey's positioning is huge. Jax is just going to be creeping forward, but the first tag is on Nexa. Now 2 players very low. Nexa still alive, courtesy of the leg shot. But with how much utility FaZe can have left, nades, well, maybe they could be getting some big damage. Unfortunately for Kirby, he can't get the kill. And as Molotov start to creep in, Kirby will be smoking himself off to try and back off, but Nico's been so instrumental, still coming alive. 3 kills and almost a 4th as well. Kenny, yes, will be escorted to the grave, and that will be it. FaZe Clan get themselves to 14. What a round from Nico.
He has been so informed for this series, and he rotates in. He gets the duels, the headshot angles as well. Like you said, almost converting on a 4th kill. Just the headshot, but cleaned up by Kirby, no less. This is the problem for G2. Sure, you get 3 rounds on that T side, but FaZe have been inching closer and closer to a scoreline that may be irrecoverable. Oh,
Early nade, very big one as well. It's Cold and Nico to be tagged down. 2 players who've been performing beautifully so far. Cold, of course, wielding the secondary up, while Rain inside the toilets will wait for them to start pushing through. Now, let's also not forget, Rain was a menace back in the day around the bathrooms area with an MP9, but those days are long past. Maybe, however, he can have a bit of a trip down memory lane. Playing from the divider, while G2 Esports have taken full control. They've left Hunter behind on that B-bomb site to see whatever havoc he can wreak. Brokey dodges the flashbang and will back off immediately. The Ashtray assisted in doing just that.
I think he's really been the one that's been missing here for FaZe. It was just yesterday. He had a crazy performance in an overtime game. He had 44 kills. He is not getting that same level of success here against G2. Nico, aggressive towards long, trying to eliminate some of the approaches here for G2. It's still equal in number, but Nexa still so low HP, and Kirby once again on the flank there with the AUG, and he doubles down. Hunter, this long rotation, this lurk play from B, it's going to be far too late to get anything going. 0 chance in winning the round. It would have to be by elimination, and FaZe are far too spread out. A 15th for FaZe as they're looking to close out Overpass.
Oh, this is going to be huge.
One more mistake, one more advantage to be found, and Hunter holds on to his AK. We talked about the money. It is sparse now for G2. You can look at Jax, Kenny. They can't afford weapons of their own, so it has to be dropped on over from teammates. This is the last stand, the last chance.
If Hunter had gone down after time, this might have been it. And yeah, 2 Galils brought out. One of the players not having a Molotov either. Brokey, in the meanwhile, gets an aggressive peek down mid, only to scout out that there's no one who's immediately crossed back towards the player grounds. Rain peeking out, but no one to be found. The nade and the flashbang to try and peek through, but so far G2 is just playing a very, very slow playground occupation play.
Oh, Brokey's peeking into it. Oh dear, first one to hit the deck is Almanac. That's the bomb spotted out as well. Given a second chance at it, he's got a gap in the smoke, and Brokey goes huge for 2. Rain, all the meanwhile, finds a kill on Nexa, and Brokey has really been the one that's trumped what G2 had to offer in the round. Now he just holds on to all of that control. There's no progression towards A. Hunter and Kenny trying to meet up and try and get something going, but Kenny's being caught out in the open. Brokey cutting off the rotation, Kenny to answer back. So this is coming back to a feasible situation now for G2.
Kenny and Hunter, 2 versus 3, brought back down from a 2v5. Hunter creeping through. He's got Kirby on the other side to deal with, who's also been fantastic using the AUG recently. But you've also got to keep in mind, Cold is watching for the cross, so Kirby will be second point of contact. For Hunter to get both is next to impossible. And as Kirby hears the smoke going out, blooming through, he'll start to back off and reposition to go through. Hunter's watching the angle. Can he get it done? Hunter waiting for the push, but he gets this flick and the spray follow-up. Kirby can't get the kill fast enough, and it's back down to a 2v2. Kenny, yes, trying to fight back with an AK that's been picked up, while Cold rotates back over towards Heavens. Nico will be taking the duel soon, but Kenny will fall, and it's all down, it's all dust, and it's all Faze, and it's all day long a victory for them as they move forward. And G2 Esports, they just can't get it done.
It started out with that phenomenal T side